Welcome to a brand new episode of Just Ask Share Live. Yes, I am back and I'm talking all about brand reactivations. So clearly this is like so close to my own heart because I am doing all the things that I'm going to be telling you to do as far as it comes to reactivating your brand. So what exactly is a brand reactivation? That is when your personal brand has been somewhat dormant publicly. That doesn't mean you haven't been working on it. That doesn't mean you haven't been doing anything with it. But the things that we typically add value to as far as visibility that might not have been there. So that stuff can get in your head and it can keep you from starting and reactivating. Or if you've never activated your brand, this episode is going to help you as well. So I am super excited and I already see guilty hands in the chat right now. So yes, I hear you on that brand guilt. But you know what? Today is all about not having the brand guilt. And, Dan, thank you very much. Cher, you look even more glowing than the last time we saw you. How is that possible? Good lighting, awesome camera, and a little bit of makeup. It all helps. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Koga, thank you. Hello. Angelic Cher. And I see Jason Humphreys. How are you? It's been a while. Hey, Team Live. All my Team Livers. Loving you guys. So while you are here, and look at this. It wouldn't be Just Ask Share if I didn't start the damn timer now, would it? So let me get that timer started. There we go. All right. Now, Just Ask Share can begin. All right. So guys, we are talking about brand activations tonight. And it's so nice to see you guys active in the chat because these are some of the things that get in your head. You're like, oh my gosh, is anybody going to even show up? Is anybody going to like my content? Is anybody going to like me anymore? Do they remember me? These are all the things that we go through, but they don't matter. So I'm going to dive into that in a little bit. But as per usual, you know how we do. Are you Team Live or Team Replay? I'm already seeing my Team Livers in the chat, but you replayers, you mean just as much to me whether you can watch it live or on the replay. And I am just excited to talk to you guys today. Also, later on in Tap That App, 2Bs, we are going to be talking about this new podcasting tool that I am using and absolutely loving. So why am I talking about a podcasting tool? Because I'm working on a podcast. Not your typical podcast, but I am working on one. I'll let you know a little bit more about that later on. But in the meantime, stay tuned for that because this tool is mind-blowing. I love it. It's a basic tool. It's not, your all-in-one podcasting tool, but it's definitely a good addition to your toolkit, and I'll let you know why in just a few moments. So hey, Ricky Terry, Steve Worthy is Team Live. Great to see you guys on YouTube as well. And yes, so Dan Roth says, BS, Team Live means more. Yes, I do love you guys for showing up Team Live, so I appreciate that. Yolanda Chin, Team Live. Let's see, Charles Team Live, Liam Team Live. Oh my gosh, where are my people at? They're right here, Team Live. And you Team Replayers, I know you're watching too at some point, and I am loving that, guys. You are giving me energy right now, so I appreciate you in the comments because actually I have a really good, solid example of what you can do with your activity in the content. So in the comments, so stay tuned for my Scrollstopper. You know what that is. That's when anything that stops my thumb from scrolling and I can dissect why it caught my attention. And it's not always the perfect post, but there are things about it that you need to know about. So I'll be including that today. And hey, Eddie, great to see you as well. And Summer, Texas in the house. I love it. And Ryan, yes, let's do this. Team Live. And Tony, all right, Team Live. Marlo, Team Live. I'm only here for the countdown timer. See, this is the thing that me and Steve Worthy have going back and forth is he loves a countdown timer, kind of, sort of. I'm like the anti-countdown timer person, although I use a countdown timer in my, why is my countdown timer, not my show timer, that's different. It is not, guys, okay, let me be real. Do I really want to reset it? No. We're going to pretend I have 34 minutes well, we'll see what we do with that. But yeah, see how long it's been. But guys, thank you so much for joining me today. So if you're watching, you know what the algorithm loves. Show me some love with the reactions and the emotions. And guess what? You are not allowed, or it is not recommended that you ask for a like or a love in print form. So especially over on LinkedIn, they're actually telling you don't do that, or your post will be downgraded, meaning it was not going to be pushed out into the algorithm. So that is something to keep in mind, and it's just a little, little learning here and there. So do not ask people, especially I think it's more to catch those posts where people are saying, vote with the reactions. They're trying to get away from that. And so yeah, if you say give me a thumbs up, give me a heart, give me whatever, you're going to get downgraded. So that's just one to grow on. So I hope you take that in. All right. Yes, extra share. I am so extra. Janine, thank you for tuning in from Indianapolis. And Judy, it is great that you are here live. And Chad, I see you. It's great to see you, Chad. It's been a long time. And yes, really, they are. So I'm looking at Marlo. Yes, they are penalizing. So if you ask for a like, you can ask people to comment. You can ask people to tag. But the reactions do not ask people to react, like type in your comments. Yeah, and let's see. It also just sounds a little icky. Exactly. Just be yourself, create content you care about, and trust that the right people will follow. Amen to that, Liam. And that's why the right people follow you, because one, you give awesome content, and that is what we want to make sure that we are doing, always giving awesome content. And that's how you have a brand and legacy. And that's why even when you need to reactivate your brand, people come back and activate with you, because if you've been feeding them good, if you've been feeding them well, they're probably hungry for you, right? So, got it. All right. And Orlando's all the way in Tampa, Florida. I was just in Florida about a week and a half ago over in Orlando. So, you guys are having some great weather compared to this cloudy, rainy Toronto right now. All right. So, let's get into this conversation around brand reactivations. All right. And I shared this last time. It was so funny and so ironic. So my last Just That Share Live was all about consistency and getting consistent. And, whatever, things happen. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that have been going on behind the scenes, which have been awesome, but at the same time, it is what it is. But I did talk about consistency. And regardless, this is the equation that I want you to know about. The consistency equation. So it is credibility. That's how you show up online. That's how you show up in your profiles, what you write about yourself, giving people the language to talk about you, giving people the language to refer you. Also visibility. So that's where you're showing up. That's where you're DMing, you're commenting, you're creating content so that you can remain visible and memorable. Multiplied by consistency. So this is it. Credibility plus visibility multiplied by consistency equals opportunities. And I'm not going to lie, the more you put this equation to work is the more opportunities you will see. There are hidden opportunities at work. There are incredible opportunities with clients. There are incredible visibility opportunities with this network. There are so many things that you can do. It's about putting in the work. And this, my friends, is the outcome of the work is the opportunities. I swear, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. Try to hold back. Okay. When you're like there's like a sneeze coming, that's how I'm feeling right now. Anyways, so poor Chad, he was kicked off LinkedIn because he was off for a while, but now he's back. Sent me a connection request. Okay, I didn't know if that was you or not, because I'm like, I knew that was coming. Sorry, I hope my mic didn't pick that up too big. So Simone says, team replay, sometimes team live. Oh, you are team live today, Simone. I've slacked off for the last year. I need that energy to be consistent again. Well, oh my gosh. Milo, you are in the right place because I needed to. And I am here. So Tony's all the way in Tampa, St. Pete. Here to, hey, Orlando, yes. All right. Visible, live, video, or pictures. Whatever works for your brand. right now, paying attention to some of the incredible algorithm studies that, his last name is Vanderbloom, but can't remember his first name right now. My brain's not working. But anyways, he's been putting out some incredible studies, and some of the things that he's been saying is that right now, text posts are doing amazingly well as far as proliferation within the network and the algorithm amplifying them. So text posts with multiple pictures are also doing well. Videos and documents still do well. However, they're not getting amplified as much, but they actually get a lot of comments in there. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, and I'm getting the bless yous. I appreciate you guys because this sneezing is definitely happening. Okay, yes, and I love what Janine's saying. Yes, the language for referral and recommendations. That is your responsibility within your credibility to make sure that you are giving people the language to talk about you. And that's what you do in your headline, in your about section. That is where those who want to know more about you are actually going to read about you. Right? They're going to go in. Those who just need to know the need to knows, they're reading your headline and looking at your picture and they're good to go. Right? And that's okay. All right, so Jason says, don't worry, when the Americans sneeze, we catch a cold, but when you sneeze, in Canada, the Americans still love you. Thank you, guys. Everybody still loves me. So text post with multiple pictures, yes. So if you are uploading, for example, so a text post on itself, like maybe about a couple paragraphs, I'm seeing those do really well. Also, especially around telling stories and that sort of stuff about, perhaps some career stories. So I've seen a few, everybody's been sharing a lot about like their steps to their career and how it's not been a straight and narrow path or how people give feedback. There's so many different things that I've been seeing lately that are doing well. So that's a text post. But if, let's say, you were at an event, and you take a few pictures or there's things that you want to showcase, uploading those pictures, they're just doing well in the algorithm. All right. And so, I was just reading the comments trying to get through there. But yes, Judy, remember on Clubhouse, I wish you could be my neighbor. Next best, come to LA and visit me. Yes, Jude, I am on my way to LA. I know I need to go there. All right, guys, I need to get it together. All right, so we are talking about brand reactivations first. I'm going to jump into my Scrollstopper. And I've got a question for you guys to jump back into the chat. I want you to rate your personal branding activity over the last 2 years between 1 and 5. I mean, a lot of us either ramped it up during the height of the pandemic, or we pulled it back depending on what was going on. I've seen like there have been people who have been consistent and just like crushing it, because that whole consistency equation that I talked about before, that's a thing. But a lot of people, I'd love to know where you are. So I would say I was probably between a 2 and a 3 throughout the pandemic, because I was doing other things, just not directly putting stuff out there. So I would say more like 2.5. I wouldn't even give myself a 3, especially the last year or so. So Simone's saying she's a 3. Orlando's been rocking it with 4. Marlo's been a 4. Tony's 1. He's on a cruise ship. Don't worry. The fact that you're still here while you're on vacation, you should get an award for that. Ryan McCreary is saying a 3.5. Chad's given himself a 5. So, that's what we're seeing is people all over the map. And oops, Marlo says, oops, not a 4. Well, do what you give yourself again, Marlo. Let me see, I saw you a 4. But what you really meant was a 2. Yeah. 5 being awesome, 1 being meh, right? And Summer's at 1.75 to a 2. Summer, I hear you. Steve Worthy, I would give you a 3.5. I'm just saying, I've been seeing you and you've been crushing it and you're doing your thing. So, but you could do more. Okay. All right. Janine's about a 3, but I'm trying to get a 4.5. This is why you're here today then, Janine, because I'm going to help you move that. And sorry, Yolanda says, I am a 1. Sorry to say that I'm a 1. Don't worry. Kim Nichols, I love her equation, 1.2. Love it. And Brian says, hello, Cher. It's been a minute. Yes, Brian, it has definitely been a minute, but I'm signaling my return. I'm actually going to own it. And Juliana, just putting my bid in for happy hour drinks when you come to LA. You know it, Juliana. You know it. That has to happen. All right, guys, I'm going to jump into some of my tips on how you can reactivate your brand. And let's take a look. All right, so the first one is shutting down the voice. So again, these are all things that I'm either dealing with or I've just dealt with. So I never give you advice that I don't take myself. So one of the biggest things is that voice, the voice of the enemy that's basically telling you, oh, look at what everybody else has been doing. Look at all of the opportunities that you're missing out on. Look at your engagement is so low as you start to post again. Are you sure you should be doing this? And Marlo's saying, I knew things drastically changed when I wasn't receiving your post. Yes, definitely. All right. And, but you got to shut down that inner voice, that voice that's telling you to stay dormant, right? It's telling you don't do this. And it gets in your head. Trust me, I deal with that. I look at some of my peers who are crushing it right now, and they deserve to crush it because they've been doing the work, right? And then there's also that voice is like, oh my gosh, no one's going to come and watch my show anymore because my engagement's so low, this, that, all the stuff. And it doesn't matter because you're reactivating. So you've got to, it's that going back to that consistency equation, like going back to that equation, that opportunity equation, right? So it's credibility plus visibility multiplied by consistency equals the opportunities. So you just got to restart and accept the restart and shut down the voice that's trying to tell you that maybe you shouldn't, right? That is so important. Poor Carol, she's giving herself a -1. Well, we're going to take you from -1 to 0 to 100 real quick. All right. And I love how Jeannie's coming in there. That's my crew. Carol Prim, no, you are not a -1. And Liam says, sometimes the ones I think about posting, I don't think twice about posting, do the best. And that's important because yesterday, I can't remember her last name, but Nikki, I think it's Nikki S. This is Nikki S. She's like really cool personal branding person, really into hip hop flow and everything like that. She's like, she made a post that said, I don't feel like posting right now. And that was the video, right? And I was like, that works, right? And then Marlo says, my voice was tired and I needed rest. So I wasn't posting because I needed rest. Now ready to get back on and popping. That's what I'm talking about. So you got to listen to the voice that's telling you to shut it down and keep it down, and the voice that's saying, well, let's do this. The next thing that you need to do during this time, so even if you were quiet, I would guess, unless you went through something challenging, and that's totally fine. And then the win on going through something challenging is that you're now on the other side where you're like, hey, I need to reactivate. So you've gotten past the challenge, which is a win in itself. And it could be something else. It could be something. So for example, I look at my last year and what I've done in my less than active time on LinkedIn, for example. I produced and created a podcast, a video podcast where I hosted a show, and that it wasn't quite in alignment with my personal branding stuff, but it was amazing. It was called Icons and Insights, and I was literally talking to tech gurus from around the world with my co-host Howard, and it was amazing. And I developed all the stuff on the back end, the graphics, the blah blah blah, the editing, all that stuff. So that kept me really busy. I was also the host, and still am the host, for a weekly masterclass series for the Black Professionals in Tech Network. So that's been keeping me busy. I revamped a lot of my messaging and my branding to get super niche on what it is I do. So these are all, plus I shot my first LinkedIn Learning course, and now I'm working on my second one. So there's a lot of things happening behind the screens that I had to allow to celebrate those wins, but also give myself grace as to sometimes when you look at all these different creative outlets, you may be tapped out. So those are things that you've got to think about as well. So I want you to take stock of the wins that that in the meantime, over the last year, what are the things that you accomplished? Because guess what? You can create content about those wins to start getting you back into the fold, right? Don't apologize for your time away. It's unnecessary. But what you can do is share what you learned, share what was awesome about that time, takeaways, things that transformed you, and talk about that. Share that, because vulnerability posts, so going back to text posts, those are still doing really well, especially when you can connect the dots professionally. Maybe there's something you learned, something you created, something you built, something you learned about yourself. These are all things that people connect with and you can create content about. The next thing that I want you to do, so now that you've shut down the voice, you've taken stock of all the things that you did do to give yourself the grace and the understanding as to why some things might, you can't juggle all the balls. You need to drop some. So when you take stock, you can realize what you were juggling in the meantime and making happen. And then the idea of creating content about those wins is super important, or about that experience that has brought you to this point. But what I need you to do, and this is where people get tripped up, they focus when you're thinking, because you do need to get into your goals again. You do need to figure out what is your immediate next. And I want you to focus there for the next 3 months. What is it you want to happen right away? And this is incredibly important simply because you're going to get more quick wins out of it. What do you want right now? Who do you need to meet? You're focusing on micro goals to help you accomplish what you want. So even if the immediate next is, well, who do I need to meet to get to where I need to go? What kind of content do I need to create to accelerate what I'm doing right now? I'm not saying I'm not saying to ignore your future and your big term, long-term goals, but I think right now as you're getting into the motion, you've got to focus on the immediate next. And that also means that you want to be planning 3 moves ahead. And that's going to help you do that, right? So when you're thinking about what do I want from a goal perspective right now within the next 3 months, now I want you to, as you start to get active in your brand, and this is interesting because I want you to know by the time you post your reactivation post, you already know your next 3 moves. Whether that's you're building connections, you're going to get more active in the comments, whether you're creating content, maybe it's a video series you want to do. Don't think too big, but just know your next 3 moves and get on it so you can develop this momentum. And that's something that I've been doing is like, okay, what else am I posting? And like Liam was saying earlier, it's not some of the things that you didn't think about too much become the best performing posts. So content doesn't have to be epic to be awesome, right? And I want you to remember that. Perfectly polished, produced content, sometimes I put so much into something and it's like, oh, that was underwhelming as far as the response. And sometimes it just doesn't get picked up in the algorithm, or maybe it was just me feeling it, but all the same. Sometimes the things that you just kind of like think off the top of your head, all of a sudden they just get this momentum and you're like, what the heck? But anyways, I want you to think 3 moves ahead and start the momentum. And also those same 3 moves, I want you to make sure you're planning that they're in your calendar, whether it's working on the content, whether it's getting something out, whether it's making that connection, whatever it is, get that brand reactivation going, whether it's working on your profile. Do it and have a plan for it because it will help you make that move. And then here's my final piece of advice for this reactive. This is a very short period where you're just getting reactivated, right? I want you to comment to create. And here's what I mean by that. So I've been experimenting with different types of content, and that's one of the things that I've been using also to reinvigorate my brand. And one of the things I did was I just put it together. You have no idea how quickly I put it together, graphics, everything. It was called Creator Collab. And the whole premise of this live stream was not only to interview and collaborate with a creator and have different creators that I'm collaborating with to create content, but also have people in the comments collaborating along with us by adding in the comments, adding advice. And I find that oftentimes when we are spending time in the comments, we're creating content. And you probably notice how LinkedIn encourages you. Do you want to turn this comment into a post? If you're putting the work in, share it. It's about, again, these quick wins. And back to what Leon was saying earlier, sometimes what happens is that you are, sometimes what happens is that little thing that you took, 10 minutes to write a great comment, and then you share it and reframe it and share it in your own network, you will see that thing that didn't take a lot, you weren't thinking about it, all of a sudden gets that momentum and traction. You're just like, wow, I can't believe it. And those are those quick wins that we need. And actually, my Scrollstopper, which is coming up next, is an example of commenting to create. So that you're going to see that in just a moment. So you can see that in action. And I really believe that's it's a great way to create content that keeps on giving. So not only are you expanding yourself in other people's networks, but you're taking back that work and reclaiming it as your own. Reclaiming my time, right? And that's a reclaiming my effort. All right, so let me jump into what you guys were saying. And in the meantime, show that love. Love to know what you think. Again, the algorithm still does love it. So let's see here. Let me get back in here. And Brian, sorry, I'm just getting into these notes here. The gift is embracing where you are to evolve, aligned with clarity. And that is so important. I love that. Sharing is caring is my motto. I love that. Marlo as well. Janine says, this is a great way to get back in by sharing what you've learned. I need to do that more online and not just verbally with my friend circle. Exactly. And when you guys share, and so that's really what I'm seeing as well as this chorus of everybody saying, yes, you did learn something. This is a great way to just give back. And again, when people see your vulnerability, it also activates their empathy, and they can see themselves as well in your post, and that alignment, that connection grows. And it's a lot of what people are talking about. So that's amazing. And I'm getting some congratulations as well from Janine and Orlando and Jason and Summer. Thank you guys so much. And Chad, thank you so much. And Ryan says, it is so important to celebrate your wins. If you're not excited and appreciate what you've done and are doing, it's unlikely that others will either. I love that quote. Guys, one of the things that I'm working on, I use OBS for this show. The Creator Collab show that I experimented with, I did it in Restream Studios, and you can just like pop up the comments. But let me tell you, it is a chore and a half over on OBS. All right, and then Steve Worthy says, love that. Plan 3 moves ahead. Should those moves be measurable or just daily tasks that drive you to your goals? They could be either or. I think measuring the first 3 moves might be challenging, like in the sense of measuring to get them done. I think so if I think about my answer once again, so I'm gonna like wheel and come again on that answer, I would say your next 3 moves, your immediate, because these are the immediate next, right? It's just about building the momentum. So the measurability of that would be checking them and getting them done, because we need to get momentum to get reactivated. And I think that when we put too much pressure on the reactivation, as I think through my answer, I think that becomes a pressure in itself that we don't need. So that would be my answer. Just your next 3 moves, the immediate next 3 moves, just get her done so that you can build momentum and keep it going. And then you can reevaluate your goals at that point. Do not let the search for great content prevent you from sharing the good. Ryan, oh my gosh. Okay, you guys are doing exactly what I want you to do, is you're collaborating in the content, in the comments with some great content. That alone, like I said, text posts are doing well. Ryan, I dare you to post that. Do not let the search for great content prevent from sharing the good. I dare you to just beef that comment up a little bit and share it tomorrow as a text post and see how that does. And Jason's saying, yeah, I retired at 45 with the sale of my free house I bought for $500,000 for $1 million. Good for you. Owning that real estate, that game, I love it. And you've got like a whole bunch of other stuff that have been amazing, and you're working it out, and you're working it out in faith, which I love. And yes, of course, I plan to share those comments on my company page too. That is amazing. All right, yes, definitely share that out. And then Steve Worthy says, comments are where the gold resides. Yes, it's imperative you as a listener engage in the comments 100%. 100%, because let me tell you, I've had people that tell me that they have developed incredible relationships inside the comments of my shows in the past, and they have developed working relationships, opportunities. So I think that's amazing. And viewers having been asked NBC to shut down The Voice for 10 years. Yes, it's true, and we got to shut down our voice as well. And Wendy, yes, comment to create, spot on. I'm going to show you guys an example of that. Chad saying he totally agrees. It's hard to measure them, yes, and you should not have to measure those three. Right, I hate the pressure, just need the authentic flow, especially when you're reactivating. Don't put any more pressure on yourself, right? And I love that. All right, guys, so I want you guys to, let me see, I'm going to move some stuff around so I can see what's going on. Yes, so we are moving in to the next. We're moving into my Scrollstopper, guys, and this is an example of commenting to create. So it starts by adding to the conversation. One, it's amazing for your brand. It increases visibility, right? It increases your credibility as well. But then, again, your comments are the gift that keeps on giving. Again, for that visibility and credibility of knowing what you know and sharing with the community, but then also recognizing that your network didn't get to truly benefit from the wisdom you shared on another post. So how can you repurpose those comments, especially in things like live streams, where it is very interactive? And I really want to encourage you guys to collaborate, to create in the comments, because you can take what you've learned and create content out of it. Let me see, how am I doing for time, guys? Oh God. All right. I'm gonna keep it moving. All right, so let me introduce our Scrollstopper of the day, and this is by Jamie Taylor. And he is a software craftsman, award-winning Microsoft MVP, award-winning podcast host, producer, editor, and consultant, and he's also a development consultant. So he stood out for me today, and I'll show you what he did. So this is an example of collaborating. So this was my show, Creator Collabs, and I'm not just featuring him because he did it in my show. I really want to show you guys what he took from his active participation in one of my lives and what he was able to turn it into. I also have some feedback as well, because this show was all about feedback. And so what he did, and let's take a look at this as well. Hold on, give me just 1 second. I want to show you. We're going to move into what I think about this. So one, he already put the work in, right? So let's take a second look at, let me see. Hold on 1 second. There we go. So he put the work in. So this is what we're looking at right now. He definitely put the work in. This was the post. We'll take a look at it in just a second. In fact, let me take you over there right now, over to the other side. And this is what the post looks like, guys. So Creator Collabs with Cher Jones, my thought and some advice I would share. So he broke it down, and what he started with, guys, was, and I'll just show you how much content he put together. This was a full article, right? And I'm going to go through this point, and I just want to see the depth of which he came from, because he commented, like, yes, this is what I'm talking about with links and everything. So anyways, let me go back into my notes so you guys can see what we're talking about, right? So he already put the work in, right, with the comments. He had so many incredible comments on there. One thing he did is he shouted out the creator and some advice that he wanted to share. So he shouted me out in the comments, so it got my attention. And again, this is a great way if you're trying to build relationships. And let me get back on camera with you guys for just a second. So this is one of the things that I want you guys to recognize in this moment is the fact that this is a great opportunity for you when you shout out a creator that you are talking about how they gave you a space to create. Then you get that person's attention. It's a great opportunity for relationships. I've been talking to you guys about podcasting, so I'm going to be talking to him about my podcast and getting help with editing and all that stuff. So you never know where that's going to go, and that didn't happen before that, right? So he shouted at the creator. If you go into his article, he gave an excellent recap of what's happening in that live, because there were so many gems dropped in that live, and definitely was something that was so well, he did such a good recap on it. So it was really well done. And then he included, here's another thing. So not only did he shout me out, he included others in his comments. So he shared his, and let me come back to you guys for just a second. He shared his thoughts as well as he shared some other people's comments as well. So another opportunity to network. Right? So I just want you guys to feel the strategy here, right? So he included others in the comments, and he also connected it to a book that he was reading. So he first was talking about the recap and what other people were saying, and then how he connected this live to a book that he's reading, and then he shared his final ideas on how you can give better advice to people. So he shared his own advice, which was powerful. And also, he linked over to some other thought leadership that the reader would find helpful. So for when I see that, I think that overall, it's like he put the work in, and then he also suggested an action to take. So what can you do with all this information? So that's how he ended the article. So really well done. There are things that I would suggest from a formatting perspective just to make it a little easier to read. So that's other things. But I want you guys to take the lesson from this, right? It's really about what he was able to create. And the most amazing thing is that he produced this. He turned it around so quickly. So I think within an hour and a half, because I shouted him out when we were talking, I'm like, listen, Jamie, you literally wrote a blog post. You need to write a blog post with all those comments that you shared. He turned it around in an hour and a half. So I admire that those quick turnarounds with content. So did amazing stuff. So let me tell you guys, I was super, super impressed. And I just think that your comments are the gift that keeps on giving, and it really does develop your brand. All right, yes, Steve Worthy says Jamie Taylor is a rock star. Your comments are the gift that keeps on giving. Yes, 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 Summer, I'm telling you. Ryan says he'll be creating as well, and Janine says yes, she's going to be looking for his post. And then Dan says, in fairness, Cher gets more shout outs than Pete Davidson. I appreciate the shout outs, and I received that, and I'm coming for more with the content, and I'm just going to keep on lifting the bar. And let's see, and yes, there's some rock star love for Jamie. And so I want you guys to get active in other people's content. All right. Oh my gosh, my timer is going to stress me out, guys. I'm pausing this timer. I know. No. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'm cheating. But guys, this is my first time back. Give me a break, right? Okay, so next up, tap that out. Not doing too bad, but this, guys, if you've been waiting to figure this out, oh my goodness. Okay, so if you're thinking about doing a podcast, there are a lot of things. It's audio, right? So as I've had conversations over on Podcasters Live with Steve Worthy, you guys checked out that channel. One of the things he always asks everybody is, what do you think a podcast is? And I said, it's just to produce conversation, right? Whether it's audio or video. But the one thing that every podcaster will definitely tell you, it is about audio. It is an audio first medium, and you got to sound good. Well, this particular app that I want to tell you guys about today is incredible. It is not an editing app. It is simply just for recording. Okay, so it's for recording your voice. And what's really cool is my studio is not sound treated. That's something that I definitely want to do. So, some people, the advice is go into your closet where everything can bounce off the toys, bounce off the clothes, use a moving blanket. I've seen it all. I'm going to be playing around as well with this like enclosure that goes around your mic that's supposed to pick up the sound. So I've been gifted that, which I'm really grateful for. But this particular app, and I've been using it, and let me tell you, whatever it does, it's like automatically makes your voice better. So without further ado, let me show you what it is. Give me 1 second. All right, let me just, I erased one of my things. Anyways, this is not your problem. Here you go. Let me show you. All right. So it is called Bouncecast. And basically right now as well, there's a deal on Appsumo for Bouncecast. And what it does is it records. It's like 1-click recording, 1-click fixing. It makes your voice sound amazing. So if you're doing voiceovers or if you are doing podcasts, you definitely want to record this. Use this to record your voice. It fixes room noises, everything. It's so incredible. And I absolutely love it. You got to try that as well. Over on Appsumo right now, I think it's like $59 for a lifetime deal. I bought it the last time, and the reason why I'm talking about it again, because it came up. And it's definitely something that you want to check out. If you are doing voiceovers for videos, if you're doing podcasting, you can record it there, fix your audio, and you'll sound like a rock star in a studio, no matter where you are. So just some awesome stuff. It can even give you like that radio sound if you want that like NPR radio vibe. It does that as well. And I'm talking literally with like 1-click, 2-click, 3-click, done. You feel like it's a Dr. Seuss podcast recording tool. So, yes, thank you so much, Ryan. Definitely go over to appsumo.com so that you can get their lifetime deal if you're interested in it, because yeah, it's phenomenal. So let me just jump into the chat right now. The bar gets higher. Appreciate you. And let's see. Okay, thank you so much. I love voiceovers and podcasts. Yes, Marlo, you're going to love this. Oh, hey, Donovan. How are you? It's great to see you. Marlo, get it. Trust me. And the cool thing with Appsumo is you can try software. I'm a software junkie, and that's probably why I love Tap That App, because I'm writing it off for content. Anyways, but you can try out the software for 60 days, and if you don't like it, you can get your money back, which is awesome. All right, and Kelly says, thank you so much, Cher. You need to get your affiliate page. Yes, I know. I need to trust me, as I ramp this stuff out, I'll be throwing my affiliate links. And Appsumo, yes, just like a sumo wrestler. And I'm going to do a video where I'm going to show you the different sounds, like so you can compare the untreated versus the treated with Bouncecast. So I'm going to do that shortly so that people can hear it and think for themselves. And of course, my affiliate link will be in there. So that's awesome, and I appreciate that, Kelly. And Alexander, long time no see. Cher, you are awesome as always. Thank you so much, Alexander. I appreciate that. All right. So do I want, okay, 123, no, not yet. So guys, questions. Do you have questions? I want to know. I am here to give you my answers to your questions, my A to your Q. So if you got a Q, and thank you, Kelly, get paid, sis. Let me know. Let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to answer that or catch you in the comments during the replay. It's all good. I got you. But you know what I want to remind you about right now? I want to remind you that sharing is caring, right? You want to make sure you share this, because more people need to get their brand reactivated. This stuff matters. And as well, it helps me, and I appreciate it. So there's that as well. Let's talk about what's coming up next on Just Ask Share. So the next thing I'm going to be talking about is thought leadership and clues that you are overthinking your thought leadership and what to do. So if you have developed a methodology, a way, a philosophy, a way of doing things, if you have really worked out in your mind something that is repeatable, that is thought leadership in the making. But are you creating? Right? So I want to help you along that path, especially those of you who are in prime time of your careers. You have a lot that you need to share, and you probably have developed a way that makes sense. So you need to be getting that out there. And James says, great session. Thank you, James. I appreciate that. And yes, I love it. And so the other thing that I want to remind you guys is, yes, ring my bell. That's what I want. So come on over to my profile. If you don't see the bell in the profile, don't worry. That just means that feature has not been unlocked for your account yet, but LinkedIn's rolling it through, so you should have it in no time. But that will make sure that you see my content as the consistency, the reactivation goes into full effect, because I have some really good stuff planned, because I got my next 3 planned. And so I want to make sure that you guys get down on the content. So I appreciate you more than you know. And yeah, it's like 122 left, as if it was absolutely that countdown timer was working the way it should have the whole time. But anyways, guys, I am really appreciative, more than you know, to help me quiet the voice in, that voice I talked about earlier, the things that will stop you from doing things, right? Like oh my gosh, my posts are like low engagement, or this or that, or whatever, all the things that I tell myself that keep me from reactivating my brand. You guys showed up for me tonight, so I appreciate you. Marlo says, I love learning from you, and I appreciate it. Summer has clicked that bell. Thank you so much. And Janine says, this is a right on time session. Love it all. Thank you, Janine. More to come. I know the time does go by fast, but guys, I appreciate you, and I will be back here. So you guys, all you who watched, especially those of you who watched this entire episode, I need you to be my accountability partner. So I'm putting it out there on the streets, on these LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook streets. If you do not see me next week, you have permission to run me down in my DMs, because I am committing and I am in a good space mentally, physically, emotionally, to crush it. And I am so ready for it. So Aisha, thank you so much. And Ryan's like, I needed to hear this today, so thank you. There's more where that came from. Guys, I want you to continue to stick with me, because like I said, there's definitely more where that came from. So make sure, you stick with me live, and I'll see you then. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you on the next episode. Appreciate you guys so much.